Hey there everyone, this is the third and final video that I'm bringing out for God of War. So this video is not just for normal viewers, this is also a guide. I don't know if it will reach out to anyone playing God of War. I mean, God of War did come out 3 years ago as well, but this is kind of a guide to doing the Valkyrie Queen boss fight. In this video we're looking at it in New Game and New Game Plus. I'm on the hardest difficulty, and New Game Plus it does get harder. The boss will chain more attacks together, the attacks have slightly some extra bits on them, and yeah, needless to say, this first clip is me in New Game. There are a few things which I do slightly differently. My New Game Plus version is very much an optimised way of doing it, so the runic skills are the same, but yeah, anyway, I'm going to get to that guy's stuff in a little bit. There's plenty of time for me to talk in this video, because it's 18 minutes, so for starters, for my normal viewers, if you haven't already seen the 2 videos for God of War, I'd recommend watching them first. They're kind of more like a prequel to this video. This is facing the big bad boss, the really tough one. God of War was a tough game, especially if you did it on the hardest difficulty, but even in normal difficulty, people found the Valkyrie Queen almost impossible, and I've got to say, I've played a lot of games, and I really like hard games. This was one of the toughest challenges I've had to do in any game. It wasn't impossible, but it took me about 2 or 3 hours for each of the playthroughs. New Game Plus I thought was going to be faster, but she's just tougher. She plays really well, so even though at that point I was like really good at the rest of the game, like New Game Plus was just a joke for me because I'd done the first playthrough on the hardest difficulty, so by that point, you know, it really taught me to play the game super well. Then I got to the Valkyrie Queen and I had to, yeah, play for 2 or 3 hours again to beat her. But anyway, this is kind of a boss which you get trained for. So the Valkyries, there's like 9 of them I think. I can't remember exactly now, but there's quite a lot of them, and each of them have these different attacks. So you'll see the moveset of this boss is crazy. There are loads of different moves, but you've actually kind of learned how to face them from all those previous battles. And so, for example, this Ice 1, there was a Valkyrie which did that one. If we see this, dash left and then go into the swiping, followed by an unblockable one. That was a particular move for a different Valkyrie. The blocking with the wings that you have to do a shield bash for, that was a different one. So yeah, you have to learn the pattern of it all. A couple of them where it like dashes left or right or something, I can't remember which way it is. It can do slightly different things from it, and there's a particular move which caught me out a bit, I think, in this first fight with the Valkyrie Queen, where it would do that and then dash in and do a little stab that you had to dodge. There's also a particular move which it would do just randomly dashing in and doing an unblockable stab. That always got me. I don't know what you could really do to like see it coming, but anyway, that's pretty much everything I want to say in terms of this fight. As a generally talking, it's a really good fun fight that you have to be committed to get it done. I had a friend of mine, which he's a big gamer who I recommended this game to. He got really into it, way more than he normally would in a game, and he's more of, while I say he's really into games, he's not like crazy in terms of like playing everything on the hardest difficulty and stuff. Oh yeah, here I think I accidentally activated that rage mode. But yeah, so he found the Valkyrie Queen exceptionally hard because he's not like me playing Dark Souls and other really punishing games. But it is lots of fun. Anyway, so we've talked about some of this. Now I'm going to talk more guideline in terms of how you face lots of the moves. So obviously, just by watching, you can see how a lot of it works. This dash left lets to go into the swiping there. That red attack, you can see it coming. You just do a little dash to the side. That was it, just moving away from me. It wasn't a dash right. I'm saying dash right. Obviously, it's dash left for the Valkyrie Queen, but is how you look at it. That's the move which I just couldn't figure out. It comes out randomly, and he did it again. Like, sometimes I managed to avoid it, sometimes not. I got a bit wrecked at this point. It was really unfortunate. I actually, in hindsight, regret using this healing talisman. So that's something which I'm not using in the second playthrough, because there are better alternatives. Basically, the Healing Talisman, I figured it's a long fight, extra health will help me, but in reality, it was really hard to pull off and not get hit. That I often got hurt more than I was healed. It messed me up quite a bit. The skills, the runic skills I used were exactly the same in both playthroughs. So you can see it's a blast plus the I'm not using it there. Blast plus the sort of jump attack with the blades, and then I love this really quick stun move. It's so easy to do without getting punished, and then the other move does a lot of damage sometimes. The one where you put the icicles along the ground. So the build is a runic build. That's, I think, quite commonly accepted online as being the strongest build. I know that it is possible in New Game Plus to use a certain armor which boosts your kind of I don't know if it's melee damage or unarmed damage or something. But yeah, basically you can use certain armor. Oh yeah, it maximizes your attack and then makes you die very easily. And you can do that and then use the blades and kind of do the attack, pause, attack again, and you can kind of dodge around it using the slowdown thing to basically chain that together and kill the Valkyrie Queen stupid and fast. That's possible, but you know, if you're going for like a normal kind of lane, then that's what we're doing here. And it's runic build, and you want to go with the runic attacks for like serious damage, and then I just spam like the basic attacks when there's openings for me to do that. So then it's a case of learning to counter all the moves which the boss does. Also really important is the extended roll. I'm using 2 enchantments for extended roll. I think it was 2. I think 1 is enough to dodge the sort of sweeping attacks now here, but 2 just makes it a lot easier and really good for helping at certain things. Stun on the runic skills is really good as well if you mistime it, like I did there. Where I definitely could have been hit by that attack, but because I'm using a runic attack which stuns him, I didn't get caught by it. This move does sometimes go behind the Valkyrie Queen, but it makes up for it with the damage and how easy it is to use. Also, you can kind of use it from distance in some instances, which is a little easier than some other attacks. And this one you can, chain in after those attacks like that. So, nearly done with this first one. It was a bit rough. I messed up with some things. That right, dashing right and then racing in to do the unblockable stab. It's doing it again now. Yeah, that was very telegraphed. You can get used to that. I don't think it does anything else when it dashes right, so you can get used to whenever it dashes right, you get ready to do the dodge. Now this move, where it sort of comes down after setting off the fire, that I did dodging with rolls. In New Game Plus, the rolls, it does depend on which enchantments you're using for extending a roll, but it doesn't line up so well. You have to just dash to avoid them rather than rolling, which is a little tricky, but you'll see how I'll take advantage of that when we get to that clip in a second. So yes, after 2 hours or more of me facing this Valkyrie Queen, I finally managed to beat it. This was so satisfying. I did it without reviving as well, which I think there was one point where I could have done it with reviving, and I was like, no, I'm going to do this again, and do it properly, and finish it up without a revive. So now we move into the New Game Plus. The build here, like I said, very similar, building for runic. I've got a lot of enchantments which just boost my general stats, because I find that's kind of better. Like, some of the things matter, like we want the 2 for extended roll, and there's one here, one very important enchantment, which is when you dodge, if it's a last second dodge, then you take, it slows down time. So I got caught right at the beginning here. I just decided to let myself die. It's so punishing. She chained together loads of attacks, and it's just brutal. As to give you an example of how brutal it is. But here's the time when I actually did it. So the enchantment for dodging is very important, as we'll see in a very short while. So the general idea is you can do like 1, maybe 2 of the runic skills when you open her up. I went a bit too aggressive there, going in, and it's a shame to get hit so early in this run. So here's where the dodge matters. it helps so much for this attack because you can actually stun her out of the attack. And I think it's mainly that one where last second dodges come in, but the window for catching it is so tight that you can actually just you almost always get it when you dodge that attack. So you see I get it again here. Yeah, so I can now just go attacking. Sometimes it doesn't stun her, but that just means you get more attacks, and she does it again, and then you can dodge again and get more attacks. That unfortunately went behind her, I think. But yeah, as you can see, you know, she's just chaining it together so I can get more and more hits on her. It's really, really useful, and it's not that hard to pull off either. The talisman I'm using is the one that refreshes runic attacks. I found that to just be the most effective in this fight. The runic attacks are what really do the damage, and so having something to refresh that is very, very good. That you have to quickly press down on the directional buttons. I wasn't on the axe for that, that was pretty dodgy. I generally stay on the axe just so if she does that move I can throw my axe without having to do a quick swap and then throw. But yeah, the other move, the blinding move, if you didn't know, I think it's one of the lesser known things because the game doesn't exactly teach you particularly well. But when it does that blinding attack, you press down on the directional buttons and it does a quick flip to the other direction. So then you don't get blinded, and then you just press it again to flip back after the attacks happen. I hate how blocky it gets when there's a lot on screen. Unfortunately, it's, you know, it's just it's the PS4 normal recording. I don't have a special recorder for my PS4. So as you can see, oh no, she did get staggered. Okay. Well, anyway, you can get lots more hits in like that. It makes that move a lot nicer. Oh, just about managed to spot that. Yep, swap, throw. Got it, just in time. When I went through the game, I managed to figure out most of those things about how to counter those attacks. But my brother who played the game before me, he did not know that you could like throw your... Actually, I think he figured out the throwing your axe, but some of the other stuff he didn't know. Now this one, avoiding it, it's very important to have the extra distance dodge for that. It makes it so much easier to avoid. Probably noticed that my gameplay is a lot smoother in this one than the previous one. And because of that talisman, I'm also able to really often have these runic skills, because I mean, you only get like 1 or 2 off in each opening when you can attack. This attack is a bit harder in the medium plus. If you're not prepared, it can catch you out, but to be honest, most of the time it's fine. I think actually, was it in the original fight, or at one point my build for this, I did a certain build where it's like, I had an enchantment or something that meant when I blocked, then it had a chance to recover runic, and my runic skills, and it was really good against that ice attack, and otherwise like the wings, there's like a spin it does where it hits you loads, and so, you know, lots of hits on you, it's a higher chance of you getting the runic back, which was nice for chaining the skills together a bit more. I think I opted it out for something a little bit better though, because it was good and everything, but like there was something better. And you can see I'm getting like Blessing of Runic. I think I've got enchantments that like, well, there's one at least that gives me a Blessing of Runic when I use a runic attack. Sometimes it's like a pretty high chance, so you'll see I get quite a lot of boost to runic damage, which helps to do this a lot faster. It's always funny when you record something like this and then you make a video about it, and it looks kind of easy because you're doing it so smoothly. I mean, I got hit just a little bit earlier. Oh, here I dodged. I didn't realise what attack it was. And I went a bit too aggressive there. Look how close to death I am. I shouldn't have attacked her. I should have just let her do her spinning. But anyway, going back to what I was saying, which kind of a bad example with that bit there. But things look really smooth when you get good at doing something and it's your completion of it. Oh dear, I messed up there. I threw it below her. I really jinxed it by saying it was smooth. But anyway, normally these really hard things look a lot easier in a video than the hours that you spend to try and master it. But yeah, this was really, really difficult. And yeah, my gameplay is definitely better in this second clip. I panicked a bit after reviving and did some dodging which I shouldn't have done, which luckily I didn't get punished for, because I should have blocked something that I dodged. Sometimes stunning will get through a shield there, but normally you need the shield back. Yes, good, she did something that opened her up to attacks. Sometimes she'll chain attacks together for like nearly a minute and you can't do anything about it. But we're getting pretty lucky here. Oh, switch to axe and throw. Good. This time I didn't get punished by it. So he's even able to swap back to pull off the skills. Just in time. So that's it for the commentary on this video. I hope you enjoyed watching it, and yeah, if you're inspired to get God of War, I would highly recommend it. Really good fun game. You don't have to do it on the hardest difficulty. That's just, for people who like punishment. So yeah, hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you in a video soon.
Thank you, friends. You have saved the Valkyries.
Sigrun, how did this happen?
Mimir, is that you? You have been freed, but...
Freedom comes at a price, milady.
You speak truly. Countless winters we serve the All-Father. But only through his union to the Queen did we ever taste some measure of freedom.
But aren't you the queen?
There has only been one Queen of the Valkyries, the goddess Freya. When Odin severed her wings, I served in her absence, but it wasn't enough for the All-Father. He used an archaic piece of magic, corrupting my sisters. I tried to contain the damage by imprisoning them in places where they could cause no harm, but soon I lost myself as well.
Sigrun, I'm sorry for being so worthless. I could have done something, or tried at the very least. What will you do now?
I must reunite with my sisters. Together we can restore balance to the realms. You have the eternal blessings of the Valkyries.
Well, we did it.